Hi, this is A. Wesley. That ain't who tells it like a TI is. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribe. Topic I'm going to talk to you today about is Housewives Tea. Housewives Tea Part 2. I did Part 1, I think last week or 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's been so much housewife stuff going on, and by the weather being bad down here in Texas, and stuff like that, it kind of affected my back. So I'm a little bit behind. I'm slowly catching up, but I'm a little bit behind. These are just some of the stories that I have forgot to talk about in the last Housewives tea. The first one is um the first one is Mariah talking about how marriage and medicine got started. Also, Rachel Zoe responds to fans saying that she just got on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because she's broke. I also are going to be talking about Sweet Tea giving her last year-end review of her podcast show and stuff like that. I also will be talking about Stacey Rush being on Carlos King. I also gonna be talking about Charisse being on Carlos King and Ashley's response to Charisse what to Charisse said on Carlos King. Those are just some of the topics that I'll be talking about in this week's Housewives C Part 2. Like I said, uh, like I said, I'm gonna read to you. I'm gonna read to you what Rachel Zoe said. Let me zoom this up a little bit. Uh, this is from the Reality Blur. The Reality Blur says, the Reality Blur says, according to Shift Throne, and and she joined the she joined the HB and she joined the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills due to money woes and yeah do it says Reality Blood. Rachel Zoe is shutting down rumors that she joined the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills due to money woes and and gave her and gave her advice. Rachel wrote and the details in the links below. So I didn't read the full article, but that is what she said. But but I didn't read the full article, but she said no, she didn't have no money woes. She just came to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because she had been on there previous seasons. I didn't know that. And when I found out about Rachel Zoe, that's when she had her own show. It was a Rachel Zoe show. So that's how I know about Rachel Zoe. And I'm gonna read some of these fan comments that they got. Uh, One fan said RZ is a fantastic addition a fantastic addition to the show. She's going, she's going to stay uh, momentous, and Zoe adds oomph in taste and honesty. I like her, and she's a good fit for the show. She's she's going to bring back the love for this show. Those are just a couple of comments about Rachel Zoe and stuff like that. Now, I don't know. I don't think she having no money woes. I just think that she wanted to have something to do and stuff like that because she did have a couple of years ago. She did have like a like one of those what you would call it it's fashion boxing things, but her thing was too high. It was like similar to Stitch Fix, but her stuff was a little bit too high. Now she's been around for a while in the fashion. Now I did like her on the Rachel Zoe show. She said in an interview or somewhere that she has been going through a divorce and she's raising her two sons and that her and her husband have full custody and stuff like that. On to the next topic. Like I said, Sweet Tea had gave a review of her of her podcast, and she was saying she couldn't believe that they had been on and their podcast had been doing so good for all of 2025 and she kind of showed some pictures of different events that they went to with that they went to, her and the girls, showing them, where they went to celebrate Gabby's birthday, and where they also went to celebrate Jen's birthday at the spa, and a lot of stuff that they did. So they were kind of doing like the year-end review, like a whole lot of people doing last month. Also, she posted some pictures. Now I did watch her holiday podcast thing on YouTube. I already did something on that, and she had posted a couple of pictures yesterday where her and Greg had went out, I guess for dinner or for New Year's or whatever, and then she was saying about how they were doing some of the dances. I think it was a two-step and some kind of other dance, and they were having such a good time, and I was glad to see that of them, and I'm glad that they are happy without being on that show, but also speaking of that. Mariah came out like a week before Christmas or after Christmas and was saying how Marriage to Medicine really got started. But I think she really did that because Toya from Marriage to Medicine was doing some promo right before that, and they was talking about the show, and she mentioned on page six, I think it was a page six interview, that she mentioned that they need to have more marriage to medicine franchise, like marriage to medicine. I think you said Chicago or something else. And I was saying, well, they did try to have marriage to medicine in LA, and that didn't work out. But I liked the marriage to medicine in LA. I think they had one with Houston too, I'm not for sure. But anyway, that's when Mariah came out and said that how the show really started, and she said that she had been pitching the show for years, and everybody turned it down, and then they finally decided to look in, finally decided to give her a chance on her show. Now I'm just paraphrasing. She said the original title was supposed to be Doctor's Wives Club. We say after a while they changed the name to Marriage to Medicine, and she was saying it was some girl, I think her name was Siobhan or Shavana, and she was saying she would have been a good fit, and she was saying she liked her and she was going to recommend her. She said, but for some reason the producers didn't want her, and she said she had brought in Cecil and Simone first, and then Simone brought in Dr. Jacket and stuff like that. And so she said it was like that, and then they liked it what Toya and Eugene was doing. But it started out, and she was saying they really didn't want Heavenly at first, and she said but after Heavenly, did what she did and fixed herself up and got the liposuction and all that stuff. She came back in season two and stuff like that. And she was saying at the end that that was her show, and she said something about that it started with her, and it started with her, and she said something about it started and can't be duplicated. There's only one. And I was saying, "Ooh, duplicate or should duplicate or copy or something like that." Like I said, I'm paraphrasing. I was saying, "Ooh, Mariah's throwing a hint at somebody." What it is, I don't know. I mean, people have been asking Mariah, for a while, will she want to come back to Marriage and Medicine? And so far, she's been saying no. She's been turning it down. But somebody needs to come back to Marriage and Medicine because everybody tried to blame, the bad ratings and the bad stuff that happened on Marriage to Medicine last season on Dr. Greg and Sweet Tea. But from what I'm seeing from this episode, ain't none of them really bringing nothing except for the little clips that I've been seeing online, except for Simone and maybe Toya a little bit. But on to the next story. Stacey Rush was on Carlos King about 3 weeks ago, and she sat down with Carlos King, and she kind of talked about she kind of talked about she kind of talked about her family life and talked about her childhood and said her mom was a single mom that had worked. I kind of wrote this down and I kind of went over my notes, but when I tried to go back and find my notes, I couldn't find. But anyway, the part that I kind of remember was she said that she's always been in Detroit, and her mama was a single mother, and her mother had to work two jobs and stuff like that. And she was saying she did go to college, and she was saying that a lot of people underestimate her. And she said she had been saying that people had been saying that for years about her, about that she's that she's well, I'm trying to think of the word that she used. She's different. She's different. And she said when they were saying it on the show, it didn't really affect her. And he said, yeah, it didn't phase her. Now, I didn't like the part, and I'm glad she clocked him when she came out and said, oh, really, Carlos? Oh, really? Gonna bring out some mitts because they had been talking about that girl's butt. And I said, Carlos, you and your messy butt. And I was so glad she clocked him when she told him, ain't nobody gonna make her have a, ain't nobody gonna have a aha moment on her and make her say stuff that make her say stuff that she wasn't gonna say in the first place. She said she's still gonna say in the first place. She don't know why Ashley has a grudge with her. The reason why Ashley has the grudge with her because Ashley has nothing going on, neither her or Giselle. And you can tell that Carlos loved Giselle and Ashley and it was like she was saying that she didn't like the gang up. She didn't like the gang up of everybody ganging up on her. And she was saying something about that she don't know why Kiana had a beef with her because she really didn't have a beef with Kiana at first and stuff like that. And now I'll give this to Stacey. At first, like I said, I do like Kiana. At first, I said, well, I was giving Kiana the business since she had no business doing stuff like that. But then, when it got to that Nevis trip, and Casey and Stacey thought Giselle was really on her side until saw what Giselle gave her that bunk bed room. She was going there, Kay and Angel, and I'm looking at, wait a minute, you kind of flip flopping, and that's what I had been seeing and what I've been noticing and that when she thinks Giselle and Ashley is in her corner, she go against the other girls. And so when she really found out about that, she kind of went back. But anyway, back to the interview. She did a real good interview and stuff like that. I really did like that. Like I said, that she clocked Carlos King, and she was saying that Giselle gets away with a lot of stuff on that show, and she don't know why. Giselle get away with not showing her life and stuff, and everybody else have to. I say, Stacey, Stacey, you saying what all the fans have been saying for years. Why is Giselle on the show if she's not gonna show her life and do stuff like this? And she said Giselle is the one that get away with a whole lot of stuff. We all been doing it. On another note, Charisse was also on Watch What's Happened Live. And I think it was episode maybe I think it was like 12 or 13 where Charisse had brought her son to an event, and she said, "Ashley, you know my son," and she said, "Yeah, I know your son." And then Ashley got on Watch What Happens Live, and then she said, "Her and Clarice's son were more than just friends and stuff like that." And so Charisse said on Carlos King that she didn't know that Ashley and her son had some kind of intimate relationship. She had thought they were just friends because he decided to take her home one night, I guess after some part of the event. And she was saying she thought Ashley was her friend, and Ashley been doing that story ever since he was a little bitty boy. But I think she said when he was like 13, 14 years old. And she was saying that was kind of weird on Ashley's part. And she said it was very weird. She almost kind of like and then Ashley came out and said no, two consenting those, but she was saying it was like borderline P almost, and that's what Clarice was saying. But then Ashley came out and told me no, it was two consenting adults, and what Charisse said, Charisse she found out that people sure like to talk big behind closed doors and behind this. And I'm looking at Ashley, you don't see nothing wrong with that. You don't see nothing wrong with that. You 36 years old, even though that boy is 24 now, at the time Charisse was bringing you around her son, he was 13 years old and you was way, what, 21, 22. So Ashley, you don't see nothing wrong with that and stuff like that. And then, and then, and then, and then, and then, And then I'll put that in the next video. But there was some people that were saying, and even Giselle had said on our podcast that everybody thought Charisse was okay with it, and until she got on Carlos King, and like she said on Carlos King, she thought it was a joke at first, and people were saying she was joking. And now I do agree with Giselle from her podcast. I think after Charisse saw that tape and then saw what the audience was saying online, she had to get up and say what she had to say. Now I know this probably gonna be on the reunion they filmed the reunion last year. I mean not last year, last month. I mean not last month, last week. Like I said, so much going on. I'm having brain fart. But anyway, she did it last week and stuff like that. And and so that's what happened. That's what happened on that subject. Um, that's all I have for this. That's all I have for this Housewives T video. I'll do Housewives T Part 3 later on next week because there's so much stuff going on. I gotta get some more information. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. This is A Wesley. That ain't even tells it like a TI is. I am out.